This quick video, I think I had talked about, so I think I did a good thing. Anyway, I did talk about the Danish oils, so if y'all aren't, there's different brands, but Watco's the big one. Just a quick video on here showing you a little bit on walnut, right? So walnut is very, very pretty, as everybody knows, right? So it's highly sought after, highly figured. Sometimes you can make the grain pop a little bit if you just take a little bit of the dark walnut Danish oil. And of course, most people think, oh, well, I'm just going to put that on oak to darken something up. But you can put it on walnut. You really can. And it'll make the grain pop. You kind of got to weigh a little bit on this because you don't know if you have a really dark piece of walnut that's dark already, right, you can nearly make it black. So you gotta kind of play with it. This one had a lot of color to it, and I was a little anxious about putting it on, but I had these bleach spots that were on the bottom too. I say bleach. This is natural. This is natural to the wood itself because it's on both the bottom and the front, and so this is just some figuring within the wood itself, but they seemed a little brighter on the bottom. Didn't know if I really wanted that, so I just put in one little coat of, I put in 2 coats of the the Danish oil on here, and it really is done. Looks really good. So I think this is just about ready to put the seal coat on here. I'm pretty stoked on it. So hopefully, I'm not going to put any more on. I'm not getting anything off the rag. So whenever you put the Danish oil on, right, you put it on, you let it sit for, a length of time, whatever makes you impatient. And then you just kind of wipe it off, look at it. If it's not dark enough, put another one on it. I think I waited about 5 minutes for the first coat, and then kind of put the second one on there. But anyway, it is really pretty. I'm getting some reflection off the window, but it is very, very pretty. So very vivid. Again, this gives it a little bit of definition. Don't always do it to walnut, like I said, but you can do it. It is a little bit of a risk. Like anything in wood, if it has a risk, that's fine. You take it downstairs and sand it, right? Or that's pretty much it. But at the end of the day, this is some highly, highly figured wood. I really like it. Turned out good. What's interesting is you might see these cracks right here. I'm kind of interested to see how the top coat handles that. Oops, I got a little spit on there. Because you can see these cracks, but they're not cracks. I was really concerned about those, and so I think I mentioned that in an earlier video. That was kind of the first pour. I wanted to put this green in for the natural cracks within the bark. Remember, these are bark inclusions, and I wanted to fill in the holes for those anyway with this green epoxy. Get a little bit of blue here, I think, and then some more green epoxy up here. And I wanted to, kind of do that character in there. The only real reason I picked green is, one, my son, at least when he was a kid, that was his favorite color, and I'm making this for my son for helping cut down the tree with me that he did not have to do. But the other part is this particular walnut, if you see, it's got a lot of red in it. Just got all sorts of colors in it, actually, and don't know if you could see those all on the phone. And I also thought the green would pop out a little vividly. There's lots of colors that go great with walnut. I think pretty much everything goes great with walnut. But yeah, I just thought that would contrast a little bit against the reds. So like that a lot. Very, very pretty. I mean, my gosh. Just got a ton of stuff going on. Got this beautiful crotch figure that runs all the way down along the bark occlusions here. Got some amazing curl. Like this whole side right here is just whatever branch or whatever it was just tremendously stressed. That's where you get curl from. And just gorgeous. I mean, those are not saw marks. This is the actual waves of the of the wood. That's what makes curl. And honestly, it's all the way up and down this thing. So especially this side, there's a little bit more curl over here, but you get a little bit more into the straight grain. You have these beautiful little specks right through here that are really nice. So there's a little bit of curl in here. You actually got some quarter sawed over here, if that makes any sense to anybody. Also got some pretty curl up here where that's at. Or curl. You got some pretty chatoyance up there. It's somewhat curl as it goes back and forth. Just really pretty, and just tons of just different colors as these two branches were kind of pushed together. And then of course got the beautiful bark inclusions in the middle of it, and they're pretty solid. I'm happy about that because bark's a lot softer than, that one's still a little soft. It's a lot softer than the walnut, so it'll be nice to get that all encased in epoxy and not have to worry about grandkids digging at it, you know. I wouldn't mind doing something like this if this was, you know, going to stay at my house. You know, an option besides a tabletop pour, of course, would be to put some Osmo or some Odie's oil on it, and maybe even some Rubio. That would definitely bring the colors out all the more, give you a beautiful, you know, texture to touch. The only downside, of course, when I was thinking about all that, because I had that, is really, again, the bark. Let me sit here and play with it, and I'm going to scratch it up. But the bark itself is, you know, a ton softer than the hardwood, the hard walnut. So that's why I'm going. And plus, my son's got grandkids, right? Or I got grandkids through my son, so I got to give them something. Hopefully, just a little end table thing is what this is going to be. But I want to give them something that is going to take kids crawling on it and things banging and people doing stuff. So anyway, this weekend, maybe, maybe I'll get the, well, hopefully maybe even tonight I'll get the seal coat put on it. We'll see. I don't know. I still got a little bit more work to do. I've been working a pretty big issue all day long, so I was kind of hoping to do that earlier today. But man, look at that. You even got this green. So when you look in walnut, you got these different colors. See, I poured green, but, you know, here's some natural. Look at that. You can see that right there in that light. There's a little bit of natural green through there. I always loved in walnut with the sapwood that's on the outside, right? That's your young wood, and this is your heartwood, which is the harder wood. And of course, it grows outward, and your sapwood becomes heartwood. But usually, there's always this very dramatic line between the sapwood and the heartwood. I don't know if it's just that wood that's getting ready to turn or what, but this one's got that beautiful kind of a green spot right there. I'm going to sit there and play with it, and it won't be green anymore. And then it kind of comes up over here, and then just gets lost, which is kind of cool. I like that. If you watch the videos on the butterfly table, you'll see there's this beautiful blue line that goes all the way around it. And this one on this side almost has that identical feature, but it's more faded. But you have your beautiful separation, your beautiful line right here that comes up and ends right there. So this one comes up and just disappears in all this figure right here. And then this one comes up and actually nearly hits the bark here. So that's kind of cool. So you get your sapwood on this side, you get your heartwood on this side. And then really over here, it kind of didn't know what it wanted to do. So this stuff was turning into heartwood. Literally right here, it is heartwood. And then you have these just amazing plunges of just fibers, right? That's what that is. This is wood fibers, and you can't really tell it right there, but what happens is those wood fibers right there, they're just making a deep dive right up underneath here, and then you've got this little wood piece that grew up over here. Another dive there, right? So you end up with these marks that are just really interesting. So it's really cool. Got beautiful just curl and figures in here. You know, just beautiful piece of wood. I'm gonna be tickled. Hopefully they enjoy it. Kind of doing the video here, so because once I get it done and hand it over to them, I won't get to see it all the time. But do a little video and I can look at it. This is probably one of the most highly figured pieces of wood that I've ever personally worked with. Uh, Absolutely just beautiful, stunning piece of wood. And I picked it up for, hardly anything at Exotic Woods of Albuquerque. So I wouldn't say hardly anything. It wasn't free, that's for sure. But at the same time, it wasn't too expensive. So got some saw marks here. I'm kind of leaving it a little bit rough. That'll all be taken care of when I do the flood coat. This will be perfectly smooth all the way across. But yeah, it's kind of neat. I think before I do the flood, I may not do it tonight. Before I do the coat on it, I really do want to get a box. I thought I had one, but I don't. Because I kind of I don't want really all the dust motes to be on this. So I kind of want to do the pour and then, put a box over the top of it, let it just sit, and then pull it off. And then that way I don't have too many dust motes. Again, this isn't a clearing room. I'll probably have some. I got the pollinator over here that I need to water. And then some of the others. But anyway, yeah, it is absolutely beautiful. Look at that. Something else. So that'll all get filled in. And just a real beautiful piece of wood. Got all sorts of character to her. She is pretty. So yeah, it'll make a nice, great little end table. We're doing the seal coat today. My wife and I are going to head outside here, try to keep all the dust motes at a minimum. Cats are outside. They'll be angry with us. But as per usual, I usually have some sort of drama that happens on the top. So had that here. My little butane flamethrower that I bought and has done a wonderful job for me. I filled it up, and I'm not real sure, but it may have spit butane all over this. I basically had to go at it again with my little spatula over there. So that was actually the second drama. I filled it all up, and it's been sitting out for like hours, and then I came over here and pushed on it, and just flame shot everywhere. And it wouldn't turn off, and it was just flames burning everywhere. And I'm not too sure some of these little smoky areas are not because of that. My third drama is this little bubble right there that is going to give me fits. So keep in mind that this is only the seal coat, so doesn't have to be perfect because I am going to sand it. But I really don't. I've ran into a little bubble like that before. I think I talked about that with the corner table in the office that just completely destroyed one little bubble like that in a corner. Completely destroyed the whole thing. The whole thing looked great, but I ended up with a big old patch of where that bubble just grew and kept bubbling, and I had to take it all the way down to the wood. It looked stupid, so I had to take the whole thing down to the wood on that. So I'm kind of hoping that bubble will hurry up. I did put a seal coat on this, but apparently that spot has got some air in it, and at some point this is going to set off, and that air is going to either be trapped or it's going to still try to expand. So that's problem number 3. Problem number 1 was crappy planning on my side. So I started mixing epoxy and realized that I had not leveled this. This is a seal coat, so it didn't have to be perfectly level, but you want it pretty level because this is the prep for the flood coat. So I realized I hadn't leveled this. In previous pours, that was pretty easy. I got my little pyramids out here, and I just would stick a tongue depressor or two underneath of them and level it off. Well, anyway, I had already poured my epoxy into the little measuring containers and had it mixed up. Realized I didn't level this. Ran downstairs real quick, grabbed my level, put it on here. Realized I was way off on being level, and essentially went into panic mode at that point because I've got a tin of epoxy, getting ready to set off. A cup of epoxy. Ready to set off, trying to get this stupid thing level. Couldn't use the tongue depressors. They kept flying all over the place, so we ended up just grabbing some video game things and stacking it up till I got it level, which was ridiculous. And by then, I had to throw away the entire 4 ounces of epoxy I had, because it was, pretty much about seconds away from setting. So, yeah, that was the first drama. That was bad planning on my part. And then, like I said, the second drama was this little thing decided to just, shoot flames. And I'm talking like flames way out to Timbuktu, like it was actually on fire. And it kind of smoked up. I could actually see little spots in the epoxy where I'm not too sure substance came out of this. So problem number 4 is probably going to be, I'm probably going to have some spots of this that didn't cure. Luckily, what I did was I hit it with the spreader again. So as soon as I saw that it had these little pockets, little divots of something that either got superheated or whatever, I hit it with the spreader, spread it around again, kind of remixed the top, went back and forth, laterally back and forth, and I think I hopefully mixed whatever was in here away. I do have a few things that kind of irritate me. You can actually see the lines. It's weird because the top is flat, but you can still see the lines of the spreader on certain things, which I'm sure will eventually go away. I've kind of got to watch because at some point here, not far away, it's probably a few minutes, this is going to go off. That's the term. Basically, the chemical reaction is going to set to where it's unworkable anymore. And I've got a little something there. I don't know what that is. Probably a dust mote. Anyway, so on bubble watch. This is really pretty though. Really do like it. It's very, 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 very pretty. Just all sorts of activity going on in it. It would make a very pretty table. The sides, I was kind of hoping to have a little bit more on the overflow on the sides. That didn't really happen. I'm kind of pondering what my next steps there are, to be quite honest. I got a little bit of flow on the sides. I did spread it out with a foam brush. Seems like I had a lot of flow over here on this side. So now I have this turned down so low so it isn't just spitting butane all over. It's barely working. Already got a hair in there. Seems I'm bald. I'm sure that's not mine, but I'm sure I came off one of my clothes. But that's kind of why I'll end up sanding this down at some point. I just hope I don't have a billion motes. We'll hit it with like, I don't know, 240. Sand it down level. Make sure all the little motes are gone. Make sure I get a good adhesion, and then at that point we'll tape it up. Yeah, we'll tape it up, and then we'll, I don't know what that is. That might be a piece of the, yeah, I think it was. That was a piece of the foam brush. But anyway, so, yeah, this part right here is going to bug me. It still seems fairly fluid. It takes about 24 hours for this kind of stuff to actually cure, but at some point it becomes less like honey and more like pudding. I don't know if I can put that on higher or not. There's higher. That's kind of the way I like to hit it. I don't want to set it off. One problem is if you hit it and it's already kind of going, you can end up kind of curling the epoxy up a little bit, and that's not really good either. But now I'm actually a little hotter temperature. Keep in mind, if you're ever pouring one of these, I wish I could say you cannot have enough hot enough temperature. You probably can. But whenever I use my heat gun, which I'll probably use when we actually do the flood pour, I put it at 970 degrees. First time we poured that table over there, geez, I think we set it like 300 degrees or whatever, and we just had problems left and right, and then we finally realized that you gotta heat this epoxy up to get these bubbles to pop and to get it to spread. See, that's looking a lot better. I'm actually getting some shortjoints right there. You can see the fan, so that's nice. I don't know if you can see. Shortjoints is when you kind of go back and forth and the colors change. So that's popping pretty good. I'd still like to get this little section right here debubbled. I want the bark inclusions to really pop, so I need those debubbled. What I mean by that is any sort of smokiness in the epoxy is caused by little micro bubbles, actually, that are just too small to, don't have enough energy and mass to really join together and pop, and they'll give you a little bit of a unclear part of the pour. Just sitting here, bubble watch for that guy there. I've got some dips, so like right there, that's actually looks like a bubble, but it's actually a dip. I can spray it and it'll flood back in there, but if you notice that smoke, it's getting ready to set right there. That's one reason why. I mean, there's a couple of reasons you do the seal coat. First, try to get rid of your bubbles, because when you do the flood coat, you don't want to chase bubbles. You really don't. One or two, you know, that's about it. Which is why I use the sanding sealer. The other part is the wood isn't perfectly flat, so the seal coat gets you closer to flat. When you do the flood coat, it'll end up being flat. The other piece too is if you have little cracks, look at that thing right there. The seal coat will make it go in. Now, for the seal coat on a project about this size, which isn't that big, I gotta watch my time here, I'm running long, but essentially I use about 4 ounces. That is not enough for a flood coat. So anybody, it took us a while to realize that when we did the butterfly coffee table too. When you do a flood coat, you'll be about 8 ounces. So about double what I put in here. But the seal coat, I do about 4 ounces. It's quite a bit. You can see it. For a table about this size, like I said. So this is about, I don't know, 2 foot by 2.5 foot, 2 foot by maybe 3 at the most. I don't think it's 3. But yeah, probably was too big to fit in my planer, so I think it was like 21 inches by 26 inches. Anyway, just kind of guessing right on the seal coat. I put about 4 ounces in. It's a good number. Put it on, but you're going to have like these little spots right here where there's, it's not really that it's high right there, but it is. So there's a high spot right there. Over here, kind of this other little dip. It's weird, you have these little dips, but what they are is they're high spots where the epoxy can't flow freely over them, if that makes sense, because it would have to climb. So it actually leaves little dips as it fills around them. But anyway, it's kind of weird. But that'll be, you know, again, as I go through, I epoxy it as I get another little bubble there. This is really interesting here. I don't really know. Found me a crack. Gotta watch it. That's gonna set off. I don't want to play with this one much anymore. It actually set off. You keep hitting them with the flame when they've already sort of hit their temperature. This is an exothermic reaction that this does. It actually gets hot, like kind of like concrete. It'll get hot, and as part of the curing process, it generates heat. So when you use the quick stuff, the quick set, you'll actually get smoke. like literally it'll start cooking in your hand and you get smoke fills up the house. So you got to ventilate or use it outside or something. I don't really have a very clean area down in the garage, so I usually do these upstairs. Plus it's more climate controlled here. Anyway, I think we're pretty close. That bubble right there, I'm gonna cuss it tomorrow, I'm sure. But I think at this point we just leave it the way it is. So that's the seal coat of the top. Let it sit, let it level, let it sink in, do all of its kind of jazz. It'll eventually sort of level and then on its own. And then the next stop, this next week, we'll be taking it downstairs, hitting all the little parts of sandpaper again, sanding it down a little bit. And then what I'll probably do is go ahead and polyurethane the sides and the bottom, get them done so I don't have to worry about them. So those will be done. And then at that point, I'll come up, once those are cured, we'll tape those all up, make a little dam around the edges here, and then do a flood coat. Like I said, probably about 8 ounces or so of resin, usually, probably for something about this big. Might go to 10 only because I really, so what I'll do is I'll dam it all up, wait till it gets a little bit sticky, so wait about 2 or 3 hours after it's kind of where it's at, and then come through and actually peel the tape off. That'll actually make it roll over. It really is at the consistency of pudding at that point. Make it roll over so it kind of will give me automatically that round edge, so I don't really have to round edges on this. And then it'll start kind of coming down the sides here, in which case I can use a brush and let it just kind of roll down naturally. And it makes a pretty nice effect, actually, on the live edge. I like it. I don't really have to use a brush. I think on the mesquite tables when I did that, I just let it come on down on its own. Just let it sit for hours, and slowly it sort of worked its way down. And settled in places, so it was kind of neat. It's kind of a frosted look, right? Pour frosting on something. So now I'm chasing this bubble when I don't want to. I think that one's exhausted, I hope. Got one over here going. But anyway, long video for a seal coat, but yep, there I got me another bubble. Keeps going bloop bloop. I'll sit here for a few more minutes, chase it down, and then, like I said, I'll just let this go. Stop swirling up dust in my house, and leave it as is, and then sand down any imperfections this weekend. But she is very pretty. Look at that. One beautiful, beautiful piece of highly figured walnut. Just amazing. Beautiful, beautiful.